I would like to go over the solutions of the prerequisite check for quadratic equations with you. In the first part, you are to complete a table by writing a polynomial in standard form, identify the degree, leading coefficient, and classify it as a monomial, binomial, or trinomial. In the first problem, we have negative 4x plus 5x squared plus 3. To write that in standard form, we put it in the order in which the exponents are in descending order, so that would be 5x squared minus 4x plus 3. The degree is the largest exponent, which is 2. The leading coefficient is the coefficient of that term, which would be 5. And there are 3 terms, so that is a trinomial. Negative 0.05 x squared minus 3x is in standard form because the exponent's already in descending order. The degree is, again, 2, and the coefficient is negative 0.05, the leading coefficient, that is. And there are 2 terms, so that is a binomial. X to the 5th is in standard form. Its degree is 5, the leading coefficient is 1, and there's only 1 term, so that's a monomial. For x squared minus x cubed divided by 2 minus 5 plus 7x is not in standard form. To rewrite that, that would be negative x cubed divided by 2 plus 4x squared plus 7x minus 5. Be sure that you take the sign when you move the term. The highest exponent is 3, so that is the degree. The leading coefficient, be careful here, negative x cubed divided by 2, that's really a negative 1 divided by 2, so the coefficient is negative 1/2. And there are 4 terms there, so it's not a monomial, binomial, or trinomial. We just call that a polynomial. Skill 2 is to perform operations with polynomials, so we'll begin by adding polynomials. In number 5, we have x squared minus 7x plus 8 plus 9x squared minus 8x plus 3. Remember, we can just combine like terms, so x squared plus 9x squared is 10x squared minus 7x minus 8x is negative 15x, and plus 8 plus 3 is plus 11. Number 6 is similar, but it is to subtract those polynomials. X squared minus 7x plus 8 minus the polynomial 9x squared minus 8x plus 3. To subtract is to add the opposite, which means to multiply that second polynomial by negative 1. So we really are adding x squared minus 7x plus 8 minus 9x squared plus 8x minus 3. Combining the like terms now, x squared minus 9x squared is a negative 8x squared. Negative 7x plus 8x is a plus 1x, or just plus x. And then 8 minus 3 is plus 5. Number 7 is x minus 8 plus x minus 9. So combining like terms, we just have x plus x, which is 2x, Negative 8 minus 9 is a negative 17. And I know you'd be thinking that one was really easy, but I want you to see the difference between number 7 and number 8. Number 7 is separated by an addition sign. Number 8, there's no sign separating those binomials, so that means we're going to multiply by applying the distributive property or FOIL method. But that is, we have to say x times x is x squared. X times negative 9 is negative 9x. Now distribute the negative 8. Negative 8 times x is negative 8x. And negative 8 times negative 9 is plus 72. So we get x squared minus 17x plus 72. Number 9 is, again, following that same pattern. We have 6x minus 7 times 2x plus 3. So 6x times 2x is 12x squared. Negative 6x times 3 is plus 18x. Negative 7 times 2x is negative 14x. And negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. So combining like terms, we have 12x squared. 18 minus 14 is a plus 4x minus 21. Number 10 is 4x minus 5 times x minus 10. So just continuing this pattern. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times negative 10 is negative 40x. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. And negative 5 times negative 10 is plus 50. So we have 4x squared minus 45x plus 50. It's really important as you're working these out to notice a connection between the things that you're multiplying and your result, because later on we'll get into factoring, which is the opposite of that. And you'll see that in just a few moments, but it is really important to see that connection. X minus 8 times x plus 8, recall this is the product of conjugates. And so when we FOIL this out, x times x is x squared. X times 8 is plus 8x. Minus 8 times x is minus 8x. And negative 8 times 8 is negative 64. So remember that the middle terms are going to cancel to just give you x squared minus 64, which is the difference of two squares, which again results from multiplying conjugates. Number 12 is again product of conjugates, 6x minus 7 times 6x plus 7. So multiplying 6x times 6x is 36x squared. The outer product is 6x times 7, which is plus 42x. The inner negative 7 times 6x is negative 42x. And negative 7 times 7 is negative 49. So this simplifies to be 36x squared minus 49. Now if you see that you have a product of conjugates, you don't really have to write down the outer and the inner. If you know you're only going to get really the product of the first terms and the product of the last terms, you can do that. But again, that only happens if you have the same terms connected by addition and subtraction. Otherwise, you have to figure out what the outer and the inner products are. Number 13 and 14 are squaring a binomial. We have x minus 8 quantity squared, so that's going to be x minus 8 times itself. So we'll get x squared. The outer is minus 8x. The inner is also minus 8x. And then negative 8 times negative 8 is plus 64. So that simplifies to be x squared minus 16x plus 64. Three x minus 2 quantity squared, again, is the same base repeated, 3x minus 2 times itself. So 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. And negative 2 times negative 2 is plus 4. Simplifying, we get 9x squared minus 12x plus 4. Number 15 is a binomial times a trinomial, x minus 8 times x squared plus 8x plus 64. Distributing the x through to each term, we get x cubed plus 8x squared plus 64x minus 8x squared minus 64x minus 512. Combining those like terms, notice that the square terms and the x terms add to 0, so we're just left with x cubed minus 512. So this is one of those difference of two cubes that we can see comes from a binomial times a trinomial. Number 16 is 2x plus 5 times 4x squared minus 10x plus 25. So doing the same thing here, we want to multiply. 2x times 4x squared is 8x cubed. 2x times negative 10x is negative 20x squared. 2x times 25 is plus 50x. And now distributing 5. 5 times 4x squared is plus 20x squared. 5 times negative 10x is minus 50x. And 5 times 25 is plus 125. So adding those, we get 8x cubed plus 125. So again, this is a special product that leads to the sum of two cubes.